So there we have it. We have got Manchester City's big weekender, and it gets off to a huge win with a big result. Manchester City 4, Liverpool 1. Unbelievable. And that second half, we really blew them away. Them two guys on your screen there, two of our goal scorers. I'm sure they'll have lots to discuss in the Liverpool change room and on the coach home back to Liverpool. That man there, Ilkay Gundogan, absolutely brilliant in centre midfield. John Stones, colossal. Every single player on that pitch gave it absolutely everything and deservedly have come off the pitch with 3 points and closing that all-important gap to Arsenal to 5 points. Of course, we have a game in hand and they face Leeds at 3 p.m. But we have got so much to get into here in the studio with our guests. And Brogan, let's begin with you. How are you feeling come full time?
I'm absolutely buzzing. I mean, I thought today was going to be a good game, but I didn't think we'd dominate them that much. So, yeah, the second half, I mean, two quite different halves for me. The second half, we dominated. You saw the classic style of Pep's play, and we're just moving the ball too quickly for them. Liverpool look absolutely knackered at the end of that game, and you can see what City have done to them.
I mean, they were dominated on. I mean, even just a stat here, we had 17 shots to their 4. Steve, the first half was great. Second half, we came into our own. How much of it was you think Liverpool weren't quite at it, but actually it was how good City were?
I think for me, you've got to give Man City the credit. I think any team and a quality team like Liverpool, if Man City raise the bar like they do and go to that level, I don't care who you are, you can't live with them. It's just so difficult. And of course, getting that goal early in the second half was excellent. It just puts the pressure on Liverpool. They now have to come out a little bit more. But some absolutely fantastic performances. Stones, wasn't playing right back. He was in the middle of the park and he was dictating play. So comfortable in there, and you could name players. We mentioned Mahrez as well. We were sort of saying really want him to have a good game. I thought he was brilliant. He's one of these where, as a defender, if he backs you up into the box, you're in big trouble, and he's very, very good at that. But for me, Jack Grealish, brilliant. So pleased for him. Comes across as a lovely, lovely lad. But what a performance. What a performance.
We were really seeing the best of him, and look how much the big man there, Erling Haaland, is loving it as well. I love to see this. And Brian, I asked you at half-time, how do you think the second half will go? And you said, Pep's probably seen everything he's wanted to see. There won't be many changes. He didn't until 80 minutes, and that was for Rodri. What were some of those things that you'd seen that we then kicked on within the second half that Pep will have really enjoyed that he saw in the first half?
I think he will have wanted to build the game up through Rodri and John Stones, and I think that gives him that element of control that he wants to get the players essentially to the wide players as quickly as possible. At the point of that, then you're dependent on Riyad, Mahrez and Jack Grealish playing well, and the performance was of the highest level. For me, Jack Grealish's performance was on another planet in terms of what he did. Probably will end up forgetting what he did at 1-0, where he ran the length of the pitch to stop Liverpool. That would have been 2-0, that would have been a key moment in the game. And he earned the right to get that standing ovation based on what he did. I'll be showing our young players the images of what he did in terms of running back, and he made a massive tackle on Harvey Elliott in the early stages of the second half. And I think, it doesn't always get highlighted, but that will send a clear message that the hunger of these guys and the intensity that they're playing at is incredible. And I think to put on a performance like that against a team of Liverpool's character or calibre is a big sign of what's to come for the rest of the season. I mean, it couldn't be any more exciting for a City fan.
No, not at all. And when you said, let's not forget, I know Liverpool have had the struggles, but this is a team that did beat Manchester United 7-0. There's a stat here, Brian, that, I think it speaks for itself, but that is Pep Guardiola's 128th game at the Etihad, but that's his 100th win. So so 100 wins out of 128 games at home is that, when you talk about a fortress, he's created that here, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think, and he probably won't like praise being heaped on him individually because of such a collective effort from the players. But I think he should have a lot of praise for those decisions that we spoke about for the game. Like Mahrez was essentially a masterstroke against Robertson again, wasn't it? And Grealish is in such good form. And now there will be no talk whatsoever about Erling not playing because Julian was so good. So he's created a really good game plan for the players, and they put it into practice. So it's been a magnificent day for everyone at the club.
It really has. Great win all round. Another player we want to highlight, because we were speaking before about Yaya Touré's nomination into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Well, with that goal today, Kevin De Bruyne has now scored as many Premier League goals as Yaya Touré did, and his game by numbers, he had 89 touches, 5 out of 7 ground duels won, 89% pass completion, 1 big chance created, 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 out of 4 dribbles completed. We said he was peaking, Steve, just before the international break. He was unbelievable for Belgium, and he's just carried that on and brought into today's game as well.
Well, yeah, because he's a quality player. You know, listen, players can have good games. That can happen, of course they can. But for me, a quality player who does it at the highest level, week in, week out, and he certainly does that. His assists, I would imagine, through his time at City's ridiculous. His goals as well that he chips in well with. And as I said at half time, listen, you have your fair players. I call them fancy players. I was looking for the word flair players, and he's certainly a flair player. But all of them, you know, you look at Mahrez, you look at De Bruyne, you look at Grealish, you look at Alvarez. Every single one of them works so hard for the team and do the work players don't really want to do. I don't want to be chasing somebody back. Well, as a defender, that's my job. But I can remember playing with like flair players, and they wouldn't really do that. And you were kind of, well, I'll put up with that as long as you're giving us what we want going forward. Today's players, top players, will do everything and anything for the team. And of course, he does absolutely everything for the team. Works his socks off, but creates and scores as well.
Speaking of doing everything for the team, we were speaking just before we became live, Ilkay Gundogan. I mean, that was just a masterclass today, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think with Gundogan, he's one of those players that I said to you, he quietly goes unnoticed because he's just putting in the work, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's always one of those key players in the team. I think when you look at his stats, you see what kind of impact he actually does have on the game, and he's just quality. He can defend, he's so creative with his play, he can do everything, and yeah, he fits right into that team with City.
Yeah, and you know, on his IQ, his awareness, he turns on a sixpence. It's so beautiful to watch. And we were speaking at half time, and he got even better in the second half. John Stones, Ryan, you know, and I mean, the stats here for his game: 96% pass accuracy, 12 out of 14 final third passes completed, all his long balls completed, won 2 tackles, 2 ground duels. And as you said, Steve, he was, I mean, I seen him like left centre mid at one point. How impressed were you with his all-round performance?
I just think, I don't know, like, I think it's easy to presume that a ball-playing centre-back can go and play in that position. It's so different in terms of your awareness, in terms of what you're seeing from the side and the side-on awareness. I think it's just an incredible performance. I mean, Kimmich has been spoken about doing the perfect role for Pep, and then Rico Lewis has done it to I suppose, in a smaller sample. But like John is all of a sudden looking as if he has that role mastered in such a short period of time, and it gives, I think, the manager that sense of real defensive security. That when the ball does transition, he's got a real clear defensive mind to try and stop counter-attacks, and I think that will probably be the major difference from last season in the games against Madrid, where there was moments where there was good control and good chances, but they were able to score goals out of nothing. And I think that defensive mindset of John and Nathan Aki provides such a solid foundation along with to allow the rest of the team to express themselves.
Yeah,
I think you know, as we were talking about, not everybody, even if you're a very good defender and a very good ball player defender, doesn't mean to say that you can go in that midfield, because you've got to have so much awareness around you before the ball comes. Basically, your head's got to be on a swivel. I always basically had the analogy of players, really good players, were excellent photographers. So before the ball come, they'd had 5 or 6 pictures that they'd taken, so they know what's around them. When the ball comes, maybe it's 2 photographs is deleted, but they've still got the 3, and they might have another one just before the ball actually gets there. John Stones has got the knack of just being aware of what, and that's a tough skill, because the top players have got that, and there's no reason why, if they were struggling with somebody like Rodri, he could fit in there perfectly well. Yeah, what a compliment that is for the Barnsley Beckenbauer. Let's get into the goals, and of course it was 1-1 at half-time. Getting that early goal, how important was that? And it was a beautifully finished move, Mahrez to De Bruyne, but that really set the tone, didn't it, for the second half? And it was a great finish from Kev. Yeah, I think so. I think, I mean, you're always a bit on edge in the second half. I think when you come out
and Liverpool are Liverpool. You don't know what Klopp's gone and said in that changing room, so it can go either way when they come out, and especially because City had played so well in the first half. But I think it's a massive confidence booster for them to come out, just get straight onto it and have that goal, and such, like as you said, such a beautifully finished goal and produced goal.
Yeah, and Mahrez, the producer, which now that makes him the all-time assist leader by an African player in the Premier League. That's 56 assists now, so that takes him ahead of Didier Drogba. Just non-stop breaking records at this club at the moment. Then we then get, of course, then to the next goal as well. Before, of course, we finish off, but we mentioned him, Ilkay Gundogan, and it was. I mean, I think people get when it's all a bit busy in the box. He actually had the composure, didn't he, just to tuck it away, Brian?
I watched him in training against some of our younger players, and we're teaching them on how to defend runners in the box. And every time they see him until the last moment when they watch the cross. And the minute they watch the cross, he just like runs off their shoulder and scores. And they're trying to figure out why. And you kind of say, well, he is one of the best players in the world at that. And it's an amazing education. Trying to explain it or figure it out is not easy, but. He has that ability to arrive just at the right moment, at the right time, and then just to elude the defenders, and his composure in the 6-yard box is amazing. Really, he's going to be so important for us to the season, and probably tinged with a bit of, I suppose, a question mark over his future in terms of where he is next season.
Yeah,
is the worry among City fans.
Well, that's it, as we know, given how key he is. But fingers crossed that he'll be sticking around. And then he got his goal. It was a Kevin De Bruyne assist, but just another beautifully worked City goal for the fourth one, and Jack Grealish deservedly with that goal. Yeah,
delighted for the lads. I think again it was a crossfield ball by Gundogan to Jack. He takes a fantastic touch. He takes a touch, and I'm thinking, and a lot of players will think he's going to take another touch, but he doesn't. He takes a touch and then passes it to De Bruyne. The fullback, Alexander-Arnold, can't do anything about it. But what Alexander-Arnold doesn't do, he doesn't switch back on. Mm-hmm. And Jack Grealish makes that run and he plays it in. I mean, it's a fantastic understanding. You can see Kevin De Bruyne, he looks, he knows his mate's there. He gives it and he slides it in. Possibly could the goalkeeper do anything about it? Maybe slightly. He might be a little bit disappointed. But I'm delighted for him because obviously when he comes to the club, big fee, there are a lot of expectations from him. With Pep, we've seen Pep, and he gets players. He does make them better players. And let's be honest, I mean, Jack Grealish was a very good player when he came. But for me, I think he's an outstanding player, and I'm absolutely delighted he got the goal. You can see, as we spoke about when he came off, he got a standing ovation, and absolutely duly deserved.
Yeah, and it seems to be the case, doesn't it? These players, I think there's such impatience around the game now. But I think particularly when it comes into a City team, players need that season, and he is becoming, slowly but surely, one of our, not just key players, but star men, his deciding games. He's done it quite a lot this season, and he said himself that's brought him confidence.
Yeah, I think you can really see it, and as you said, it's taken Grealish a while to find his feet in the squad, but you can see that he's adapted to the way that Pep wants him to play. I think he got criticised a lot at first for being, if you call it, selfish with the ball, but you can see he's in the game and he's passing it where he needs to. I think you could see at the end of it, he wanted to score and he wanted to score again, so he was taking it around the box and where he needed it to be, but it has taken Jack a while to find his way in that squad, but I'm really pleased for him that he's coming into his own. This season's been great. Couldn't
agree more. I think as well he's been telling BT that I think he was feeling a bit under the weather this morning, but I think he's well and truly put that behind him. So that's 4-1. We closed the gap, and Brian, we've said, we've had the international break. This will be like an obvious question, but how important was it to now begin this business end of the season with a performance like that, with the games we have coming up, Premier League, FA Cup and Champions League?
I think it just creates that natural momentum from before the international break, and the players will feel amazing, and all the staff and around the club will be buzzing this week. And I think it will give the manager what he wants. He knows a clear week where he can do a lot of work, because he likes those weeks where he can, I suppose, reinforce what he wants and almost trust that when he gets to the Saturday, Tuesday, and it comes to Southampton and Munich, what he wants is in place, and he can just keep the players fresh and ready to go, because the physical output or performance of the players looks amazing.
It really does. They're all on unbelievable form. Speaking of that, then, as we look ahead, Southampton away and then Bayern Munich. Now, Southampton away, they seem to have found a bit of form at the end of the season. That's not going to be an easy game as well, but it's going to have to take that mindset and energy and be putting that into that performance, Steve.
Yeah, because we've seen this season with any team. You look at Liverpool, as I said just the other week before the international break, they beat that lot 7 and then get beat off Bournemouth 1-0. I actually covered the game when Man City played Southampton in the Cup. didn't perform to the standards and got beat. So it just goes to show any team at any time, you've got to be 100% on it, because if you're not, you could get caught out. But they know, the good thing about City is that they've been there, seen it and done it. They know what it's going to take. If you've got to win ugly, you win ugly. It doesn't matter. But that performance, I was a little bit apprehensive at the start, because I'm thinking you don't know what you're going to get from Liverpool.
Of course.
That, of course, puts the pressure back on Arsenal. Yes, they've got Leeds, but you just don't know what Leeds team you're going to get. Of course, Arsenal's got to come here. You've just got to keep on putting the pressure on, because I still feel as though there's a little bit of a break in Arsenal.
Yeah, I think that. Well, I hope so as well. And come on, Leeds is what I'll say. Before we wrap up, we are of course kicking off City's big weekender. So we've got our women's team in action tomorrow, and then Brian, it's the EDS. So just a few questions. The big game against Tottenham. How are preparations going?
Really good. I think there's an FAU Cup game on Tuesday away at Arsenal in the Emirates. So that's quite a big game for the academy. So some of our younger players may play in that, which means that on Monday night we'll probably be even younger than normal, which is exciting for ourselves, because we have a core group of players. I suppose Borges, Bob, Dermot Booty have got a lot of attention this season, so they'll have a chance to really look after younger players and try and have a positive performance. So it'll be an interesting week for us, and almost the same. We have a tough trip then to Brighton, so it's going to be a tough week in terms of travel. And it's just good for the players to have that experience of having to reproduce the performance every week.
You've also got, of course, second place Chelsea to play. Yeah. And I know you're probably your lads, and I know you'll be making sure that it's not thought about. But if we kind of can get the run that we need and the results, that would be 3 Premier League 2s in a row for Manchester City, EDS. How important is that for the academy?
I think it would be an amazing achievement. When I was playing league football, I never won a lot of leagues or a lot of trophies, so our players become accustomed to it. But to actually do it at the final stage of their academy journey, I think is important for them. And we listen and learn a lot from the manager here in terms of his ability to focus on the next game and have nothing interfere with that is kind of it's unique, really. So our players start to listen to that and understand it. And it's amazing the way you can just go like, next game is Southampton, don't be any talk about Bayern Munich. And almost for our players, it's the same as that. Tottenham is the only one that matters, and then to try and achieve the ultimate goal of winning the league, they understand that the process is to go game by game. But in theory, it's fine. I think to actually put it into practice is easier under his watch, because there's not one day where he rests, really.
He keeps you on it, yeah. And finally, just a quick word, because then we've got Ben Wilkinson's in action as well on Tuesday in the FA Youth Cup semi-final, which already is a great achievement. But I'm sure him and his team will be very excited for that.
Yeah, and you'll see a combination of players who played the under-21s and the under-18s come together for that, so it's almost a competition for our best talent that's under 18. So to see them go up against Arsenal, who will be of a similar level, will be a great experience and a great test of our players, because the club want to test our players at the highest level of competition in England and abroad, and it just gives us a clear indication of how good our players are when we think they're very good, and it's a good test for them.
Absolutely. Well, listen, you can watch those games over on City Plus on Recast. You can watch both of them, so do make sure you get involved. And just a final word, I mean, Brogan, how's the rest of your year looking now? I mean, you'll be going back, I guess, to you saying Bath, but yeah, what are you looking forward to this year?
So at the minute I'm on a mini break, so I've got that to look forward to, and I'll be around City seeing the games, hopefully see something good at the end of the season. Hopefully I'll go away, enjoy some sun, a bit of sun, because I'm not used to the winter, but yeah.
Bit of a break, well important, and then of course coming back, hitting the season running again.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well, if you do see Brogan around, make sure you do say hello. But I want to say a massive thank you to Brogan, to Steve, and to Brian, to all the team behind the scenes on the show, and a massive thank you to you, and thank you to the boys in blue. Manchester City 4, Liverpool 1. We close the gap to 5 points. Come on, Leeds, do us a favour and help us out a little bit. We'll be back, of course, for the Southampton game. And tomorrow, don't forget, our women's team are in action, carrying on Manchester City's big weekender. Have a lovely weekend and enjoy those all-important 3 points. Good afternoon. Goodbye.
I want to see the fire in the players' eyes. We know the importance of the game. We've worked so hard to get ourselves into this position. We have one more opportunity of winning the title. We've suffered setbacks. We got to the semi-finals of the Continental Cup, we lost in extra time. We go to the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, we lost in extra time.
Lauren Hemp's in a crossing position, but it goes through to Angledahl. Angledahl hits the shot!
But the team bounced back.
Into the net! plays a long looping ball, and City try to win it back, and they do, and the shot comes in, and City lead 2-0.
Kelly gets the cross in. Hemp tapping. Options in the middle. Kelly makes it 2.
Belief is massive.